What's in a name? Why an Alberta town is now insisting on being called a city. That's where Alberta Prime Time begins tonight.
The town of Chestermere could soon be a town no more. Council members voted Monday night to become a city, but the province will have to approve the name change, which would come into effect January 1st. The mayor says it's a natural progression for Chestermere. Always a popular lakefront destination, it was named a summer village in 1977 and a town in 1993. Within driving distance of Calgary, in recent years, the population has ballooned to more than 17,000. Any Alberta town can apply for city status once their population rises above 10,000, but many don't, including Cochrane, Canmore, and Beaumont. How significant is the label, and what would the future hold for the city of Chestermere? And joining us via Skype tonight is Mayor Patricia Matthews of the town of Chestermere, which, as we've said, is on track to becoming the city of Chestermere. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why do you want Chestermere to become a city?
Opportunity. Opportunity for economic development, opportunity for a larger voice at the province, and an opportunity for our residents.
There have been a lot of questions about what this would mean, not just for Chestermere, because there are a lot of Alberta towns which could make the change. We did ask our followers, and this is what Jeff M. said on Facebook. I'll read it now. I'd have to look at how the provincial government taxes would change. Hamlet, town, city. He says, I'm sure the name change comes with an increased payment. So, Mayor Matthews, would funding from the province change?
From what we've looked into, it's more based on population than it is on name status. So as our population has been ballooning, as you mentioned, we look to the future and we see that being a town or being a city doesn't really impact our grants or our abilities when it comes to the province and how we work with them with grants.
So I'm picking up from this that it's business. You want to attract business, which in tune would help overall, correct?
Oh, absolutely. If we can offset our non-residential tax base, that would really help us to provide services and amenities to our residents without having to increase taxes.
What costs would town taxpayers have to take on with the name change? New signs, other logistics?
So typically, when you change from a town to a city, you would take on provincial highways. You would also have branding changes and various other small things that would need to be done. When Chestermere redid its branding in 2009, we actually changed our brand from the town of Chestermere to just Chestermere. And that gives us the ability to become a city without having to make significant changes to anything other than really our town hall. We also took over the Highway 1A that ran through Chestermere about 2 years ago. So we've gone through that process already. The impact from a financial perspective is really minimal.
Some residents have said that they like the idea of living in a small town, that calling their home a city just doesn't feel right. And there's some that actually say, why don't you use the label mighty town instead? There's some people that are having trouble with that change.
We knew when we started this process and looking into whether we should take this step that there would be some people who wouldn't agree with us. But the vast majority of residents that we spoke to that submitted paperwork and opinions to us gave us the direction we needed to take.
From what we hear from you, it sounds like this is a direction that you've been planning for a while. Why don't you think more towns choose to do this once they hit 10,000 people?
You know, that's a great question, and I'm sure you would have to talk to those towns that surround Calgary and in the region. We looked at it purely from a Chestermere perspective. What was in our best interests? What was our best time to move forward? And what would be providing the best benefit to our residents?
We've been talking about the economic benefits, more businesses, less tax burden on the residents to get things like public transit going. How realistic is it that the name change would help that much in the short term? How long would it take to start seeing some of the differences?
Well, you mentioned public transit, and I just want to make it clear that because Chestermere is a growing community, we would face a lot of these decisions and a lot of these conversations regardless of our status change. As we hit certain thresholds, we know that we need to investigate some services that go along with it. Transit is, of course, a topic of conversation. But whether we were still a town versus a city, we would still have those conversations.
Ultimately, what are your hopes for the city of Chestermere?
Well, The town residents defined Chestermere and created the unique character that we've got in existence now. The residents that are out in Chestermere are a fantastic group of people. They're really engaged, they're really passionate, they're really proud of the community that they've built. And they have built it. They will continue to build it and put their stamp on it and give it that unique character even as we grow. And I'm really excited to see how we together take this next step.
Mayor Matthews, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate your insight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
That is Mayor Patricia Matthews of the town of Chestermere, on track to becoming a city.